The left is going against the right. It's a huge civil war that's being planned out. I want to make this simple. It's happening right now. And what they want is for everybody to choose a side consciously or subconsciously. BLM, if you are not caught up to BLM, it is not even a real black organization. It never was. I actually feel bad that I've been keeping a lot of this information cooped up for so long, but I just felt like, it wasn't getting anywhere. But now things are about to go ahead and hit the fan. So they're getting the gays, they're getting people of other cultures, the people of the far left. I'm talking about the far left. I'm getting somewhere with this. They're getting gays, they're getting black people, anybody who doesn't like Donald Trump. They're basically trying to get you to fight for a war that is being started on American turf very, very soon. And they want us to be a part of their side. What I'm trying to get the black population to understand and overstand, and this is critical, is the movement has been compromised.
Yes, people. I normally start this off by saying I hope you're positive, I hope you're feeling cool, and I hope you're resonating. My God, how much chaos needs to be thrust upon human beings? You're going to get the negative reaction just for the sheer volume of chaos. People are already in lockdown. People then get inevitable proof of grooming. People obviously see the woes of people running about whilst COVID is going on, not listening to the guidelines. Some people are taking the law into their own hands. The police are running out and doing what the fuck they want anyway, whilst they're not adhering to any guidelines, seemingly. And then you see what happens in America with a guy that's going about his own business and ends up dead because of a protocol of a police force that has took it upon themselves to assume that this man needs to be restrained in this way. Totally overproportionate in every way. And it turned out they had no cause to actually apprehend him, as apparently the allegation of him having a fraudulent check was not true. So he died for nothing, essentially. What's happening afterwards is the same outrage, frustration, protest, stroke destructive behaviour.
If you have any kind of brain, you know BLM is endorsed by the Soros in the Clinton family. If you have any kind of a brain, you know that those same people don't give a damn about you, don't give a damn about black people, don't give a damn. They're exploiting the black plight to make money off of you. They're using your emotions, and based off what has happened to you, they're using that against you so you can join these evil demonic people to help fight the people on the far right.
Stroke self-fulfilling prophecy as well.
And I'm gonna concentrate right now anyway on the black leaders. Okay, the black leaders, a lot of the black leaders, and I want to hit with this video. A lot of the black leaders are straight leading us to our demise. Okay, they have us working, doing their dirty work. For their dirty work, I mean the far left's dirty work. They got us working basically for them, because how they're getting us is they're playing us emotionally. And they're basically saying how racist and how messed up guys on the far right and the neo-Nazis are. because they need all the help that they can get.
The irony is, both the black people in Minnesota and in the rest of America that's now taking to the streets doing what they're doing, and both the white population in this country and around Europe that truly believe there is a grooming scandal. Both factions are so far apart in terms of how they feel they regard one another. There's so many similarities.
There is hidden powers who are controlling the narrative, and they're brainwashing you to feel a certain way about the system, about white people, about every race, and about yourselves.
George Floyd got apprehended by a police force that had a protocol that stereotyped him, marginalised him, and overproportionately restrained him, which led to his death. What followed next was the liberalised system that was full of outrage, that were telling black people how they should feel.
This mob of the unemployed, due to the pandemic, are destroying the very hand that feeds them as they torch our stagnating economy, reducing small business owners' lives into ashes, just as we were on the precipice of beginning to climb out of this economic hole. Egged on and coordinated by social media forces deeply rooted in the George Soros leftist machine, looters and rioters disguised as protesters utilized the George Floyd murder to destroy more lives and ultimately themselves, as facial recognition software is going to be their worst nightmare, if it wasn't everyone else's already.
Julie, with a crime like that happens, it's pretty overt what should happen. But the usual mainstream come out telling black people that they should feel outraged, they should do something about it. Bearing in mind that these same mainstream medias in some ways very much stereotype what black people are all about in some ways themselves. So they play a part in this whilst.
If you think that these people who've never given a damn about you, all of a sudden, they care about the black man's plight. All of us, man, y'all pay attention. Y'all really got to pay attention.
They're playing the supporter in all this. Then you have what turns out to be left-wing organisations that claim to support black people.
40-plus cities face an army of mainly leftist crybaby millennials that have descended on America. Rather than respect the First Amendment that states Congress shall make no law respecting the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, that cherished freedom doesn't include setting up piles of bricks for the protesters to hurl at will, as we saw in Dallas, Texas.
Y'all know what building this is right here. I ain't even gonna say what name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them bricks go to? Where do them bricks
We gotta
go to?
do better.
Ain't no damn construction.
Gotta do better.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
Claim to be on black people's side and can see the injustice in all this. But yet, they seem to be playing the part in sponsoring, agitating, provocateurs.
I'm basically say it like this. Around the time, I say, probably the end of 2015, somewhere in there, probably going into 2016, I started to notice, I began to notice infiltrators coming into the movement, which is already, it's been like this for a long time, but I actually started to see them all online, making fake pages, and basically these fake people, part of the black movement or whatever you want to call it, were basically, you know, feeding off our emotions, trying to get us involved in things that we're not involved in, trying to get us to believe in things that we weren't familiar with, and basically pushing us to be more left and democratic. And one thing I want to say right now is, if you are a revolutionary or anything like that, you're not even supposed to believe in politics. So for the people who still are believing that this movement, this black movement, even some of these white movements are legit, man, you have a lot of growing to do. I'm going to say it again, you have a lot of growing to do.
There's been video after video of black protesters telling what they regard as Antifa-esque white protesters to stop nosing up what is a perfectly positive protest.
In many places, it appears the violence is planned, organized, and driven by anarchic and left extremist groups, far left extremist groups, using Antifa-like tactics, many of whom travel from outside the state to promote the violence. In that regard, it is a federal crime to cross state lines, to use interstate facilities to incite or participate in violent rioting. And we will enforce those laws.
Guys who had these spray paint can bottles in their hand, and John walks right up to these guys and is like,
Give me the spray can. Give me the spray can. It's not the way, man. I ain't doing nothing. Give me the spray can. Here,
they hand them right over to John.
Stop rattling the crowd into thinking the only way to redress is to go on the pillage. Now, not to say that people ain't going to take the bait regardless, not to say there's some of the black population that are not just taking advantage of the situation. There are. Not to say that some people, by doing that, are totally losing their message. And they are. But the similarities between what I've been following, the same left-wing organisation that will vilify you, that is sponsoring people to come and vilify you, to come and constantly give you a bad name, and to a police force that marginalises you, makes you feel the only way is violence. The similarities are so uncanny, and it's unbelievable that two parties, the two factions, probably don't recognise it, and in some ways, will see each other as the enemy when they're both being attacked by the same enemy. That is overt. So it does make you think, if you could get that across to people, that we're all being used, we're all being manipulated, castigated by the same entities. Now, this doesn't matter whether you're white or black. We're all getting it done by the same people, but yet we're pointing at each other rather than pointing at the true enemy. So that's my take. Red Pill Phil. I love you all. Even the pissing haters.